So could the FTC finally be doing something about antitrust? So the FTC, for like the past 10 years, you know, has not really been doing much. There's a lot of companies that should be broken up, and the FTC might be finally be doing something about all these mergers that have been happening. So if you really do not know, Microsoft does about all of Activision, but the FTC might not even allow that to happen. Then, so some other companies are already investigating Facebook slash Meta, uh, as well. Well, but Meta is already under investigation by the FTC. But there's several other companies that really should be under investigation. First is Google. Okay. Google owns a lot of things. Okay. I know Google does have competition, but Google owns like a lot of companies like YouTube is the biggest video service. And Google goes away and tries to get rid of competition online. That's why it doesn't know. Again, if most people want to use Google and YouTube, then that's fine. It's people's choice. If there are YouTube alternatives, but nobody uses them, them, or are used by like friends groups or something. But basically, a lot of these companies. But then we talk about Google. Go like again, some of these companies will not be able to survive without Google's help, like YouTube, for example. But Meta is the first company to really go against, you know, doing something against Facebook, which is about time, and they might finally be doing something against, of course, big tech, and what they really need to do against big tech is get rid of all the censorship on big tech, YouTube, Google, and other companies. And Microsoft is another company. Again, they might not. They're saying that Microsoft's gonna build the gaming monopoly, even though there's tons of indie studios, tons of Japanese gaming companies, tons of international gaming companies that I don't think Microsoft is gonna buy, like Square Enix or Nintendo. They're not gonna go buy those two companies. These Tencent, another Chinese gaming company, unlike the movie industry, which is mostly an American-dominated industry, the gaming industry has several companies based in around gaming. So you have lots of Japanese gaming developers and publishers. You have Ubisoft, which is a French gaming publisher, so, and of course you have tons of Chinese gaming publishers as well. So it's much more easier for Disney to have a monopoly over the movie industry, which we haven't even talked about Disney yet, but if we're gonna talk about Microsoft building a gaming monopoly, we gotta talk about Disney. Okay, how many of the most influential franchises does Disney own? Okay, they own Star Wars. Okay, and Lucasfilm. Okay, which used to be an independent company. They own all of Marvel. Okay, and of course, and they own all of Pixar, and they own all of Fox's properties, which includes The Simpsons and lots of others. We don't know if Disney will buy anything else, but Disney also planned to buy Warner Brothers. But the FTC wouldn't allow Disney to buy Warner Brothers. I wonder why. I wonder why Disney wasn't allowed to buy Warner Brothers. But Disney should not own all of these franchises. Disney should not own Star Wars and Marvel and Fox. Okay, Fox should be its own company. Of course, Disney did not buy all of Fox, obviously. Fox News is still its own independent company. Yeah, they have owned. But the whole thing with the Microsoft deal might finally wake up the FTC to do something about a lot of these companies. It's not just Microsoft who bought Activision. Then, again, Microsoft is one of the three major gaming developers. There's of course also Steam as well, which is owned by Valve. But if Microsoft goes and next buys Valve, I think they should really do something about Microsoft, and they should definitely do something about Disney and the merger with Fox. Fox, And again, Disney is a company that keeps changing copyright laws to fit Disney, to fit them. Facebook as well. Facebook is another one they're going after. Facebook slash Meta as well. They're going after Meta for trying to get a VR gaming monopoly, which is what they're trying to do. And the FTC is looking closer into Meta slash Facebook. Okay. And they're not going to back down on big business, but finally they're doing something about this. The FTC hasn't done something about this in 10 years. There's a lot of other bigger monopolies as well, that we could talk about, like a lot of meat monopolies and a lot of, plane monopolies and stuff. A lot of cereal companies being owned by the same cereal brand, Kellogg's, as well. There's a lot of companies that own a lot of the same stuff. You would think, oh yeah, they're all owned by different companies, but no. A lot of the same companies own the same things. And I think stopping tech mergers is the first thing that they should be doing. They should be doing to stop these tech mergers and other companies as well, like Disney. Okay, Disney's not gonna stop until they buy every movie company. Disney's not gonna stop. Disney's gonna silently buy franchise after franchise, series after series. For example, the two highest grossing movie franchises of all time, Star Wars and Marvel, are owned by Disney. Okay, Star Wars and Marvel are owned by Disney. The third highest grossing franchise, which is DC, I think, is owned by Warner Brothers. So look at the highest grossing film series. Okay, Marvel, owned by Disney. Star Wars, owned by Disney. Resident Evil, owned by Warner Bros. James Bond was, I think, owned by Universal or Paramount. Avengers, also owned by Disney, which is part of the MCU. Fast and the Furious, owned by, of course, Universal. And so a lot of these other franchises are owned by other companies. Middle Earth is now published by Amazon. But a lot of the two highest grossing franchises, Pirates of the Caribbean, also owned by Disney. And again, Toy Story, Disney, Ice Age now owned by Disney. Frozen owned by Disney. Lion King owned by Disney. And Iron Man owned by Disney. And you look at most of the biggest movies, okay? The biggest franchises, they're all owned by Disney. Okay? They're all owned by Disney. Okay? Pixar is owned by Disney, for example. Marvel and Star Wars are owned by Disney. And yes, I don't think breaking up Disney and Pixar is going to stop Pixar from working with Disney. Okay? And Disney did technically save Marvel from bankruptcy. See? And Star Wars was originally published by Fox, and Disney was going to buy Fox anyways. But the whole Disney-Fox merger, and it goes back to Microsoft. Microsoft bought Bethesda. That's cool. They don't really have any first-party studios, so having Bethesda help them make exclusives would make a lot of sense. Considering that, back in the day, Sony was buying companies, and Microsoft bought a couple, not Microsoft, Nintendo bought a couple companies like Monolith Soft. They bought all Monolith Soft, which included basically the Xenoblade and Xenogears franchise. And also they bought like half the Pokemon company as well. So buying Bethesda would make a lot of sense. But then buying Activision, so then they said, oh yeah, we'll put games on PlayStation, blah, blah, blah. But they're only doing that because the FTC probably won't allow them. The FTC won't allow them probably to put the games on PlayStation and to honor all exclusive deals. But basically, there was a lot of other companies that could be broken up. All of big tech. Okay, all of them. Okay, Facebook / Meta, they're already opening an investigation. Google is another one as well. Not really Twitter, because Twitter isn't really that powerful anymore. Maybe let's get rid of Twitter. I think society could do way better without Twitter. And again, FTC is only going to go into American companies. Okay, we're not going to talk about like how Chinese companies and Brazilian companies are monopolies or French companies, because there wasn't really much competition in France with major companies or British companies, because again, they have their own rules and laws that govern them. Same thing with Japanese companies. And again, Japan has done, I think, a pretty good job at stopping monopolies way better than America has. Okay, we have laws preventing monopolies. We have laws preventing companies from taking over monopolies. There was a reason why a lot of people like Roosevelt, because Roosevelt did something about all of these trusts, which were monopolies over over certain things. And they're finally overhauling the merger guidelines over this. It took them, the whole thing of Disney and Fox, many other mergers with AT&T, Comcast, Viacom, and other companies, because there are also companies that do that as well, and maybe make these companies independent companies like they should be, and not under the iron fist of Viacom, under the iron fist of Comcast. I think Comcast and Viacom are the same company too, and maybe Activision and Blizzard should be separate companies as well. Well, so maybe not Activision and Blizzard, because Blizzard will probably just die over their bad decisions as well. But basically, the FTC had no comment about it. But they said they're going to finally be changing the laws. And I don't get why they don't want Xbox to be the leading platform, even though they're still third in revenue in terms of games, besides Tencent and Sony. So, there, but as well. Well, so we're going to see how this continues overall. They're always doing something against Facebook, which finally it took them like 10 years. Do something against Facebook. Well, we're going to have to wait for the FTC and what they're gonna say, basically. And it's not the first time that Microsoft got sued by the FTC. And other companies like AT&T, and if something does happen between the FTC and Microsoft, well, companies like Disney, Comcast, and AT&T, and Google and Amazon all should be scared. That's basically it about this video. Goodbye.